Imagine facing a verbal attack, an unfair criticism or a provocation, not from fear or rage, but with an icy calm and an inner smile. While others lose control and fall into the trap, you execute a psychological maneuver that disarms your attacker and places you in a position of absolute power. Are you interested in knowing how to do it? How to turn every aggression into a display of your strength? In this episode, I will reveal the Machiavellian psychological trick that will show you exactly what to do when you are attacked. You will not only learn to defend yourself, but to take command of the situation and emerge from it stronger than before. Stay until the end because this information can change the way you relate to others forever. Before we continue, I want you to write this phrase in the comments. My calm is my weapon. Doing so will help you consolidate your commitment to yourself. Train your mind toward imperturbability, and always remember where your true power resides. Ready? Let's begin. Before teaching the defensive technique, you need to understand the nature of the attack. The novice's mistake is to consider the attack as something personal. They think that the criticism, insult, or provocation is an exact reflection of their own worth. That is the first and greatest fault, the trap into which 99% of people fall. A strategist, whether a stoic like Marcus Aurelius or a pragmatist like Machiavelli, knows that they must depersonalize the contest in order to win it. You must accept an essential truth. Most verbal attacks are rarely really about you. They are projections of the attacker's inner world. An attack is often, at its core, a confession, a window into the soul of the person aggressing against you. What it usually reveals is one of these three things: insecurity. The quickest way to feel superior is to degrade others. Someone who constantly criticizes you, searching for your faults, is often trying to soothe their own loud sense of inferiority. By pointing out your supposed weaknesses, they divert attention from their own. Their aggression is a cry of their own insecurity. Envy. If you are growing, if you are succeeding, if you show discipline, you become an uncomfortable mirror for those who do not. Your light exposes their inaction. In that case, the attack is not a verdict about you. It is a desperate attempt to dim your shine so theirs does not seem so weak by comparison. Need for control. Some people only feel secure when they dominate the narrative and the emotional state of others. Provocation is their favorite tool. They try to unnerve you, provoke a reaction, because an emotional person is predictable and therefore controllable. Your response serves as proof that they have power over you. When you understand this, the attack changes meaning. It stops being a sharp arrow aimed at your chest and becomes a simple datum, information about your opponent's mental state, their fears, and their weaknesses. That recognition is the first step to disarming them. By depersonalizing the attack, you refuse to accept the premise that it's about you. Instead, you become an observer, a field psychologist analyzing the behavior of an interesting subject. This shift in frame pulls you out of the victim position and places you in the analyst's. From that posture of calm and objectivity, you are ready to execute the first move. You have diagnosed the attack. You have understood that it's not about you, but about your adversary's fragility. Now it's time to make the first move. And paradoxically, that move is not to move. It's the act of reflecting. The average person, when attacked, makes one of two fatal mistakes. Either they apologize feverishly, "That's not true. I'm not like that," which makes them appear weak and guilty, or they counterattack aggressively, "You're worse," which drags them down to the attacker's level and gives them exactly the conflict the attacker seeks. The Machiavellian Stoic strategist rejects both options. They know that emotional reaction is the fuel the aggressor needs. If you give them that fuel, the fire spreads. Your first objective, therefore, is to cut the supply. The technique consists of calculated silence and a neutral expression. When the attack arrives, the insult, the criticism, the provocation, you do nothing. You do not alter your countenance. You maintain absolute calm, almost boredom. Your face becomes a stone mask. You do not break eye contact. You will look at the attacker not with anger, but with detached curiosity, as if observing a phenomenon worthy of study. You say nothing. You allow their venom-laden words to hang in the air and dissipate into the silence you create. This act of non-reaction is one of the most disconcerting and effective demonstrations of power that exist. By not reacting, you reflect their aggression back toward them. Think about what this provokes in your attacker. They invested energy in formulating the attack, expecting a response, a drama, a confrontation. Instead, they encounter a wall of calm, a void. You deny them victory. Their purpose was to disturb your peace. By remaining imperturbable, you show them they have spectacularly failed. You expose them. In the silence, after their outburst, their own aggressiveness becomes awkward and disproportionate. They are the one who loses control, who appears irrational. You disarm them. Without a reaction to push against, their impulse exhausts itself. It's like trying to strike a ghost. This calm is not passivity. It is an active and forceful defense. It is a declaration of power that implicitly says, your attempt to affect me is so poor, so insignificant, that it does not even deserve the slightest contraction of my facial muscles. Your attack has not penetrated my shield. Mastering this first move is crucial. It grants you the time and mental space to prepare the next play. You have absorbed the first blow without harm. You have shown you are not an easy target. With your opponent bewildered, it is time to move from defense to counterattack. You have reflected the attack and absorbed the initial energy with your shield of calm, leaving your adversary perplexed in the silence. Now you do not allow them to regroup. You execute the second move, divert. This is not a direct counterattack nor a frontal assault. An insult or accusation would be what they expect. Verbally evading is more elegant. You do not confront their force, you redirect it. The goal is to shift the focus of the conversation from you, the target of the attack, to them, the source of the aggression. You achieve this with calm, curious, seemingly innocent questions that are actually keys that open their own psychological intention. These questions ignore the content of the attack and concentrate on the intention that originated it. Let's see how this tactic works in practice. Scenario 1. Aggressive criticism. The attack. That report you did is a disaster. It's obvious you didn't put any effort into it. The weak response. Of course I put effort into it. I spent hours on this. You are defending the content. You have fallen into their frame. The diversion maneuver. After your serene pause, you look at them with genuine curiosity and ask, that's a very direct way to put it. What outcome are you seeking by giving me feedback in that manner? Notice what you do. You don't argue about the report. You put the focus on their method and intention. You force them to justify their own aggression. Any answer they give will place them in an uncomfortable position. Scenario 2. Provocation or insult. The attack. You always have to be the know-it-all, don't you? The weak response. I'm not a know-it-all, I just shared my opinion. You are justifying yourself, giving them power. The diversion maneuver. You remain calm and ask in a neutral tone, I notice a lot of intensity in your remark. Is everything okay? Again, you ignore the insult and divert attention to their emotional state. You transform them from attacker to subject of analysis. Now, instead of defending yourself, they must decide whether to admit their own anger or frustration. Scenario 3. Generalized accusation. The attack. You never listen to anyone. The weak response, of course I listen, I'm always listening. You're arguing a generalization impossible to prove. The diversion maneuver. You ask for concreteness, a task the emotional attacker hates. Thanks for pointing that out. To be able to improve, could you give me a concrete example of a time when you felt I didn't listen to you? This question disarms the vague aggression and turns it into a request for data. Often, the attacker won't have a good example at hand, and their accusation will dismantle itself. The key to all these maneuvers is your tone. It must be of absolute, almost clinical calm. There is no sarcasm or anger. You are a psychologist, a strategist, a grandmaster of chess. You are using the other's energy to unbalance them. You have reflected their attack and then diverted their force by placing them under scrutiny. You have taken total control of the frame of the interaction. Now only the final move remains. You have executed the first 2 steps perfectly. You absorbed the attack with your calm and redirected the other's energy, leaving them exposed and off balance. It's time to consummate the victory and assert your definitive dominance. Reframe. Reframing is to fully seize the narrative. It is to ignore the frame your aggressor tried to impose, a conflict, a judgment about your worth, and replace it with your own frame, a simple transaction of information, an irrelevant distraction. It is the coup de grace that shows their attack not only failed, but was irrelevant from the start. This final move consolidates your triumph and allows you to leave the interaction on your own terms. Let's see how this applies in concrete examples. Scenario 1. Continuation. After diverting the aggressive criticism with, "What outcome are you seeking?" Their likely response: hesitations, justifications. "Well, I just want the work to be well done." Your reframing move. You nod serenely and reply, "Understood. I appreciate the feedback. I'll take it into account," and then you change the subject or return to your work. Observe the power of this play. You did not admit guilt nor promise to change. You simply cataloged their attack as feedback, one more datum to process. You reduced them from an assailant to an informative note. You took control and closed the conversation on your terms. Scenario 2. After diverting a provocation with, "Is everything okay?" Their likely response: "I'm fine. I was just saying that." Your reframing move. You offer them an honorable exit, a Machiavellian tactic while reaffirming your frame. "Okay. Sometimes I misinterpret tone. End of story." As before the interruption, you have reframed their provocation as a mere incident of no importance and redirected the conversation toward your priorities. You have shown that their attempt to destabilize you failed. The complete trick, the Machiavellian psychological trick filtered through stoic calm, is this 3-step system. Reflect, absorb the attack with silence and an imperturbable calm. Deny the aggressor the emotional reaction they seek. Divert. Ignore the offensive content and formulate logical questions that place the focus on the attacker's intention or emotional state. Reframe. Take control of the narrative. Classify their attack as irrelevant information and redirect the situation to your own terms. This method is not a recipe for winning arguments. It is a system to show that you cannot be played. It is a display of power so subtle and so dominant that most people, after experiencing it once, will think twice before attacking you again. They learn that trying to destabilize you is a waste of time and energy. The world is full of attacks, small battles for status, energy, and control fought daily at the office, in family gatherings, and on social media. Most people fight with the weapons of ego and emotion, and almost always end up worse off. You now possess a superior system, a psychological trick that allows you to navigate those conflicts not as a soldier in the trench, but as the general on the hill who watches the chaos with strategic calm. Remember the method: reflect, divert, and reframe. Practice it, master it, and you will transform into a fortress, a person whose inner peace is so solid that others' attacks simply shatter against it. This channel is your military academy of psychological warfare. Each episode is a new strategy, a new weapon. If you are ready to stop being a target and become a strategist, subscribe and hit the bell. Your dominion awaits.